Hello, my name is Dave Munoz, also known sometimes as Hayward Dave, and welcome. This is my cave. This is my little getaway. It's kind of a sign of a lot of things I've done in my life that I've been quite proud of too. You'll see down below we have a little bit of sports in the first section of this, but as we move forward with the sports, you'll see too some jerseys that I've gotten over the years too, people that I've met, as well as some baseballs that I've had signed behind you from anywhere from Ted Williams to Joe DiMaggio. But what we're here to talk about today is rock and roll. I wrote a book recently called I Was There, My Journey Through Classic Rock in San Francisco. And that's what I really want to focus on with you this morning and share some different ideas about places I've been, things I've done, and people that I've met. And as far as rock and roll, always been a big fan. Classic rock from the really mid-70s to probably the early 80s has been my favorite part, and that's what my book also focuses on. So, to share with you a couple things, I just want to start with a few bootleg albums as part of my collection, and you'll see some more later. First one is with Leonard Skinner. 1978 Street Survivors came out. Leonard Skinner Band, unfortunately, in a tragic accident, died 2 months after this album was released. They re-released the album without the flames because obviously dying in a fiery plane crash didn't go well together. So this is a very rare album. Same thing with the Rolling Stones with Some Girls, another album from 1978. That had Lucille Ball's picture on it, Marilyn Monroe's picture on it, as well as Raquel Welch's picture on it. All without their permission, I might add. So that had to be re-released without those pictures. These albums, David Bowie, the Aerosmith, and the Bruce Springsteen, those are bootleg albums, meaning that they were not produced in a studio. The artists had no money from these albums. They were produced basically underground. And I've got quite a bootleg collection as well. I just want to put a few of them up here, and you'll see a couple more in just a second. And then Maynard Ferguson. I had the opportunity to play with Maynard back in 1973. Not on this album, but this is the album he was touring live at Jimmy's in 1973. So it's kind of cool, brings back some fond memories. If you take a look at Time Magazine and Newsweek, Bruce Springsteen, 1975, they said that John Landau, one of his managers, says, I saw the future of rock and roll and it's Bruce Springsteen. First time ever, the rock and roll star had shared the cover of Time and Newsweek with both the same edition. And if you take a look over here, we've got in 1980, just as smooth, 5 years later, the only two that have ever shared Time and Newsweek's cover. Very rare magazines. As you come over here, you'll see some of the rock photographs, and by the way, all the photographs you see, I took. Smuggled a camera into many concerts, and it was tough to do. I'll get into that a little bit later as well. But you can see an array of different artists, from Rod Stewart to Boston. If you're a Queen fan, you're really going to enjoy this because there's a lot of pictures and photographs about Queen, 10cc, Pete Townsend of The Who, the Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, a couple more bootleg albums over here, a couple of Yardbirds, and Journey's first album, which I'm a huge Journey first album fan. And also this Bruce Springsteen live at Winterland 1978, I was at that show. And I'll talk about that in a later episode as well to give you some detail about what an incredible show that was. And as we come over to this wall, you can see Eddie Money was playing with the Stones, a little bit more Queen. Here's an Alice Cooper picture that's got quite a story behind it. Going on, you can see Freddie Mercury again. Bradley Delp from Boston, lead singer, no longer with us, shame. Bon Scott, the former lead singer of AC/DC, he passed away many years ago. Here's a sexy young guy in the front row here. This was actually at the Queen concert. That's yours truly with a little bit more hair and many years ago. And just really a variety of pictures. Fee Waybill from the Tubes, one of the characters that they played. Some of the memorabilia over here that I've gotten over the years. And again, I've purchased nothing. This is all things that I got either from being at the shows or being around the shows. Steve Perry with Journey down here, which is an interesting story behind that piece we'll get into, as well as the Babies. Here's Springsteen's 1978 Winterland show picture. So it gives you a little bit of an idea on some of the things that I've been. I can't tell you how many concerts I've been to. I'm sure well over 1,000. Part of the evidence I have from that too is for some reason I felt compelled to collect ticket stubs. So if you take a look at my bar, the glass top of my bar, you can see this is filled with ticket stubs. It starts back in the early, probably mid-70s, and it goes all the way through probably 2020. So just to give you a bit of an idea of some of the shows that I've seen. And if you're looking for ticket stubs and stuff too, I got a whole bunch more. No room to put those up though. Again, that's my downstairs, my cave. A place that I come, and it's interesting too because when I have some of my friends that I grew up with, and I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania right now. I'm originally from San Francisco, but some of my friends, when they came out to visit, they really enjoyed just staying down here because this was part of their lives too. So it kind of chronicles my life, and as well as a lot of other people too, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. I thought hopefully we can all get something out of this, a little bit of enjoyment. My goal too is to kind of put you in the front row of a lot of the concerts that I went to way back when. The book that I wrote is called I Was There, My Journey Through Classic Rock and Roll in San Francisco. I'm Dave Munoz. Some people call me Hayward Dave. I'm thrilled that you're here, and let's take a little trip.